And good evening to everybody. Welcome to episode 54, I think it is.
50
here of the Odyssey Hour. We are 4/5 of the ops team, but I have some great news for everybody. We do think Haley will be joining us at some point during this broadcast. So we will, for the first time in probably like 2 months, have everybody on at the same time. So greatly looking forward to that. Two things really quick that I just want to, I guess, kind of a little congratulations. One, with it being January 26th, it would have been my grandmother's 100th birthday today. So just want to give her a shout out to the other side to that, as 100 years old today, young, whatever, however you want to say it. Another great anniversary date apparently is Sam and Haley's.
That is right.
I do believe that it was either January 26th. I think it was my grandmother's birthday where you and Haley joined us at the LeDuc Mansion for the very first time.
Wow.
So
yeah, even though you're right about that,
even though technically you didn't choose to join the team until 2 weeks later or whatever it was. Yeah. Today is the date you were introduced to Scott, Josie, and myself.
Yes.
Wait, was Josie even there?
No.
Josie wasn't there for that one.
No. It was just you. Actually, I think it was just you.
No. No, Josie was there because I think she gave me, because we met at Applebee's before the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when she gave me that flower painting or drawing that she did. She gave me for Christmas that we left there.
I don't remember that. Remember that.
Scott, do you? Because I don't think you've ever missed a LeDuc investigation.
No, I was there. And I went and picked up the picture for you and brought it to you.
Yes, you did. Did you eat with us, though? Or was it just Josie and I? You did. Okay. That's what I thought. And I appreciate that, by the way. I still have that.
It is amazing how little of that I remember.
Wow. I guess it was important to you.
I thought I forget how long ago it was, but we talked about I remember my first investigation like I was yesterday, but apparently I don't.
Now, to your defense, we're not even talking about the investigation. We're talking about dinner we had beforehand.
But I mean, I don't even remember who was at the investigation, though.
No, that's true. But you do remember the investigation.
I do. I remember my experience at the investigation like it was yesterday, but apparently all the details surrounding just don't.
I think
Haley's home, actually. I think Haley's home. I think I hear her out there, unless there's a stranger in my apartment.
Nice.
Let's hope not.
Yeah.
Well, they can join us.
I got a knife in that drawer. So.
But what happens if they barge in and get to you before you get to your knife?
I have ninja reflexes, so I'll be fine. Hello?
Come on in. We're just starting.
It's Haley.
It's Haley.
Okay, I need to
scoot over.
Do you want to grab a chair?
Yeah.
Probably a good idea.
I thought I'd just sit on the floor and just be on a frame.
Let me see the top of your head and that's it? Come on.
I need to change this to export out of the... I'm going to mute myself for a second.
Sure, go ahead. All right. Well, I mean, once Haley gets settled, we will congratulate her, obviously, on the anniversary. And then we will get started. But, yeah. So, Haley got to get a way for her to hear us.
I feel like Sam looks like he's figuring it out.
We'll get him in here. So I think he just did it.
Can you hear us?
Well, yeah, but you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Give me a fucking second! I'm trying to adjust the settings on my computer.
This is live, Sam.
I know it is, but these things take time.
I know. Hi, Haley. Welcome.
Hello.
How was work?
Oh, I can accept zero criticism today. Work was rough.
We have none. In fact, right before you came in, we were just talking about how today is, I think, literally. Oh wow! You need to I can hear that echo.
Is it rough?
I'll just turn it down.
Yeah. Either that, or you're gonna have to each get headphones on or something. All right, that sounds a little better.
Okay.
Excuse me. All right. Well, anyway, as I was saying, today is the day you and Sam joined us for Leduc.
Oh wow! I didn't even know. Was that
3 years
Apparently,
ago.
according to Mike, it was the 26th, but
I think it was the
don't know.
26th. I
remember
could have
the-
sworn that it was my grandmother's birthday.
I mean, you're probably right, but I was definitely late January. We know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, congratulations. And
Thank you.
in a completely non-criticism way, you guys have been an amazing addition to this team.
Oh, thank you.
So,
We
no
try.
criticism whatsoever, except a little hesitant on the potentially negative cases. But that's it.
Maybe we'll get better. Maybe we'll get more comfortable.
New Year's
but we'll see.
resolution.
Yeah.
You guys are fine. It's I'm just giving you shit. Not even an actual holy crap, the word just escaped me. Okay, whatever. Anyway, so Sam, you are picking the first topic today.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna send an image into the Facebook chat if you want to share your screen, Mike.
All right, give me a second here. Oh, I have to do some stuff too. Let's see here. Share screen. You guys
There-
see it?
Oh, okay. So this is a picture I came across that I'm pretty sure is fake, but nevertheless, it's
I don't
fun.
know. It
I have a
says it's
question
in
relating to
Texas.
this. So basically, what it says human bait needed, volunteer position for Bigfoot research project this fall in Texas. Safety not guaranteed. Must have strong work ethic and some camping skills. Reward is fame. Visit humanbait.com. And I actually haven't checked to see if that's a real website, but it's probably not. I'm sure there are plenty of people in the past that have tried to capture Bigfoot. And my question to you guys is, do you think it's even possible to capture Bigfoot? Is Bigfoot a cryptid creature that can be caught? And if so, how do you think you could catch Bigfoot?
Oh my.
I
Are
know
you
my
talking
answer to this
catch
one.
like for captivity?
Yes.
Never.
That this feels very Jurassic Park. Like we're too,
No, it can't be
too
Jurassic
occupied
Park.
with whether or not we could to ask whether or not.
Yeah,
we should.
exactly.
Well, yeah, but that was if we wanted to create Bigfoot.
Same difference.
I'm sure they would want to be like, let's see if we can breed Bigfoots.
Oh God,
now.
yeah, are you kidding me?
My point was the
Jesus.
line about like whether or not we should do it, even if we can.
Oh no,
But
no, we shouldn't.
I don't know how I would capture him. Big booby trap.
Big foot trap for a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
So who wants to answer that one first? I guess second. Haley just said I have no idea.
I gotta think
I
of-
mean, I have to kind of agree. I guess I've never thought about that. Like, everybody's out there to document it. I'm sure there are people out there that want to like capture it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you would do that. I mean, how do they capture like how do you capture like an elephant? I don't even know how you do that. Like, how do you capture a large animal?
Well, I think the
know.
whole thing is like if you believe Bigfoot is just a zoological, like an animal, or if you believe Bigfoot is more paranormal than that.
I'd like to believe that he is a physical being, but at the same time, I mean, we've all heard the I guess conspiracy, for lack of a better term, that he might be an interdimensional being and have like some kind of ability to transport, maybe, which is why he's been so elusive, he or she or all of the Sasquatches out there. So
They.
I guess, yeah, they.
Bigfoot's a they.
Yeah, I guess if it hasn't been done already, it's like the longer time goes on, I feel like the less and less likely it's going to be, because somebody probably would have captured at least one by now, and we haven't, to any of our knowledge, heard of somebody actually truly capturing one. Also, we shouldn't do it. So, but
Bigfoot rights.
yes. You have to be ethical even in cryptozoology,
You do. They have the same rights as everybody else. Scott, what about you?
Well, first I looked up the website. The humanbait.com pulls up a YouTube thing that's discussing the topic. I think if I were going to capture Bigfoot, it would be just like any other big animal with a tranquilizer gun. But again, like Lauren says, I'm not sure it would be ethical to do that. I would appreciate if somebody brought out a tranquilizer gun and shot me with it.
You would or wouldn't?
I wouldn't. No.
What do you think it was? You really think Scott wanted to be shot by a tranquilizer? Well, people are injecting themselves willingly with.
Sometimes people can't sleep. They have
just a
insomnia.
nice coma.
Sometimes you just want a 2-week-long coma.
I could go for
Mike was wondering where he could get a tranquilizer gun for me.
Nah. Plus, how cool would it be to all of a sudden, right in like your jugular vein, and you're like, son of a bitch, and then you just fall over. I mean, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
I mean, how terrifying would that be?
Top 10 coolest things, to be honest.
It's the next TikTok. Can you shoot somebody with a tranq dart in the jugular vein?
I'm going to shoot my friend with a tranquilizer dart. Let's see how long it takes for him to pass out.
I was actually thinking of a lower target, but
ouch, dude.
Wow.
Ouchie. You are in a bad mood today. So, was that your answer, Scott?
yeah, that's how I would do it if I were going to go after him.
I think people have tried that. Like, they either go with shotguns and they go with tranq darts, and the thing is that you can't even see the thing, let alone shoot it. I mean, if you listen to Doug talk about it, like he starts talking about how like they're banging on trees like 10 feet away, but yet nobody can see a damn thing. Nobody can see an 8-foot tall, big ass creature banging on a tree 10 feet away. And, just for perspective, that's like just on the other side of my door. It's 10 feet. So, I mean, there are so many theories out there as to why that's just not going to happen. Either they just have better sight than us, they see more of the spectrum than us, which allows them to move around, obviously, in the dark way better than us. I think they're smarter than us. I know that that's hard for a lot of hunters to hear, that, you know, the animal's actually smarter than them. Um, I honestly don't think that it's. There have been stories of people coming across dead Bigfoots and then like they disappear. Like before any cameras or anything can come out, like they're gone. There are several stories, obviously, of people tracking them through like open fields, and then the tracks just disappear, which goes to Lauren's point of, you know, the whole interdimensional. They off they go, and I personally believe in that. I think they are more of an interdimensional being than they are here on Earth, just naturally, and they come and go as they please. I think the thing about it is, and I absolutely love this because people do those Bigfoot calls, you know, the "Ooh," you know, or whatever. Um, I honestly think that that's probably the worst thing that you could possibly do, because if you're trying to like speak their language, they're gonna know you're speaking gibberish, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, those stupid humans are trying to trick us again." You know, one of those. I honestly think we're just not smart enough to capture them, which is fine with me because I'm with all of you. I don't think we should. I don't like the expedition Bigfoot. I don't like Bigfoot hunters, or you know, or finding Bigfoot. I don't even know. I mean, the whole premise of those shows is not even to find Bigfoot; it's to act like they're finding Bigfoot. They wouldn't know what the hell to do if they actually found one. Um. So yeah. That's my answer. I don't, one, I don't think we should. Two, I don't think we can. Uh, and yeah, Sam, what about you?
Um, yeah, I think I'm with Lauren in the fact that it's been so long and nobody has captured a Bigfoot, or just like the evidence proving that Bigfoot exists is shoddy at best. Like, is reason enough to believe if Bigfoot exists, there's probably more to Bigfoot than just an ape from prehistoric times that has somehow survived through centuries and millennia to be here in modern times. There's probably more to Bigfoot than just that. If, you know, we don't know every animal that exists in the world, but we know the vast majority of them, and we know how to capture them and study them, or even studying them without capturing them. And nobody seems to be able to reliably locate or photograph or video or capture tracks of Bigfoot. So if Bigfoot does exist, which I'm kind of on the fence about, I do think probably either too smart or just too incorporeal of a being to be caught.
We can, to the point about the whole photo and video thing, we can look at a rock a foot across in Saturn's rings, but every picture of Bigfoot's pixelated.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's a little something wrong with that. So does anybody else have anything to add on that one?
I'm curious if anybody has tried the human bait technique.
Well, it's in Texas, so yes.
Okay.
I can
Also,
guarantee you somebody has tried
it's
it.
not like Bigfoots are like hunting people. Like, why would a Bigfoot be attracted to people? If anything, they'd want to avoid people.
Yeah,
True
pretty
that.
much. I think the error in what they're doing is they don't particularly need like adult bait. They need children. They need people that have the innocence, the energy that's not going to, you know, give the Bigfoot the impression that they're being hunted, that they're in danger. I mean, there are a lot of stories. I mean, and yes, they're just stories, but of Bigfoot's playing with kids, of Bigfoot's, you know, a child gets separated from their parents while on a hike or whatever, and they suddenly find the child, and the child has a story about this big hairy creature that, you know, picked them up and put them right where they were, right where they could be found. So, I mean, it's just arrogance and pride. Everybody wants to be the first, just to be the first. That, as Haley said, they don't even ask whether they should or not. They just want to. And that's good enough. Because hunters have hunted everything under the sun, but that elusive Bigfoot, they have to be able to shoot it.
Mhm.
So, which is awful. So,
I thought you were going to say you need children because they're more bite-sized.
why would I say that? Granted, I get where you would come to that conclusion, but no.
Because
Not
it's
they're-
funny. That's why.
Yeah, but still. Bigfoot's eating kids, not exactly, I guess, top of my humor hierarchy there. Speaking of which, I have shared these with you guys, like in the chat, and one of them is mine. Well, one of mine. I have like two now, but my kind of topic. So I'm going to share my screen here really quick again. Give me a second. So I have shared this one with you. I love this one. If you ever have a bad day, I just have to bring that one up. But this has nothing to do with it, but someone obviously Rob's. But you're watching Predator. So here's the one that I've shared with you that is kind of my topic. Ghost hunter, give us a sign so we know that you're here. Ghost knocks. Oh shit! What was that, dude? We got to get the f out of here. And the ghost is like, "What's up? What's going on here?
What gives?"
Like, I did what you asked. So I mean, I guess my topic, question, whatever of discussion is, I mean, why do you suppose not so much because I mean, yeah, we asked for that as well, but if we get it, we're just like, do it again. We got to get that confirmation. But why do you think there's so many stories out there, especially on the TV shows, where they ask for something to happen and then it happens and they freak the F out? I guess, what is your take on that specifically? And what is your opinion for you personally on kind of what you ask for, as opposed to whether you get it or not, and how you do and would react?
I think the people that have that I think people that have that reaction are more in ghost hunting for thrill-seeking purposes. Like, if you're scared of what is happening, I feel like you're the kind of person that's doing it because you want to be scared. Because you are scared of the paranormal. So you're doing it and you're putting yourself into a situation that's really scary for you. And then when something happens, you flip your shit because you're terrified of the paranormal. Whereas with me, there have been situations where, we're doing a session and we have the REM pod on the ground and we ask a spirit to set off the REM pod, and they do it, and I get excited when that happens. I'm just like, oh my God, that was so cool. And you get the adrenaline pumping and stuff. And I guess, there have been times where things have been happening that weren't on command that made me a little bit on edge, but it's like excitement mixed with anxiety for what's about to happen. It's never like, oh fuck, I'm terrified, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So I really just think those kinds of people are just thrill seekers. They're ghost hunters. They're not paranormal investigators, which is where we kind of draw the line between the two.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the people on the TV shows that ask for something to happen, it does happen, and then they run away or start screaming. It is the biggest pet peeve I have when watching paranormal shows. It it irks me to my core, because you ask for something and then it respectfully does it, and then you think like it blew the house up or something like that. Like it did this terrifying thing when all it really did was maybe knock on a wall and that's it. I just, in that situation, because y'all know me, I can be a little jumpy at times, and I'm very animated sometimes when I get excited. So I had to like prepare myself, like coming into this field, like, okay, if something does happen, I can't flip out. I can't start yelling. Not that that would be my first reaction, but nobody really knows what it's like to be in that situation until you're in that situation. So the best way that I thought about it is, how would I feel if the roles were reversed? And if I was the spirit and I kindly did something that they asked me to, and then they ran away screaming, I would feel horrible. Like, because that's not my intention, probably 99% of the time, to scare somebody or to make somebody run out of a building, So I try to think about it that way, and that usually helps me, especially in an investigation. Like, okay, I don't want to scare them. I don't want to frighten them. And they're probably usually not trying to frighten me, especially if you're in a situation where there could be somebody that really needs help, or if they're stuck in some way and you are there to genuinely help whatever spirit might be there. That is not a situation where you should run away screaming if they do something you ask them to, kind of thing. Like, it's not respectful. Yeah. So that's my answer.
Okay. So remind me, the first part of the question was like, why do they react in that way on TV? And then the second part was like, what is my take on that?
The first part was what's your take on other people doing that, and then the second part was you personally. How do you like to react to certain things? And I actually had a little bit of a follow-up question I want to put in there. What do you think would be more jarring to you personally? Something that you have asked for that happened, or something that happens when you haven't asked for it? Or is there no difference?
Okay. So firstly, I think part of the reason that people, especially like on TV shows, would react like that is just for like entertainment factor. So, if they're running around screaming, that's something good that they could put in the commercial, or what have you. Like it's something for entertainment. Like if they're freaking the fuck out, excuse my language, if my parents are watching this, whatever. They've heard me swear.
Jeff will understand.
It's better TV if they're freaking out, rather than if they just sit there and go how we go and go like, oh, thank you, or I think the other reason that people might react that way is just sort of it speaks to like a lack of experience still. Like I think early on, and I don't think I'm an especially jumpy person, but it was easier for me to jump at that sort of thing earlier on rather than it is now. I've kind of come to like, I guess, get better at grounding myself. Even though I can be like Lauren, I don't think I like freak out. The only time I freaked out was bats at Ashmore. That's because it's a bat and I don't want it to touch me. But yeah, it makes you jump. But there's a difference between going like, oh my God, and like, flipping out and running away. So I think that ideally is how I like to respond, is like not from a place of fear, but from a place of excitement if something happens. Because it's cool when you ask for something and then you actually get it. But yeah, it's not like in a fearful way. And then to answer like your follow-up about if it's more, I guess, kind of like startling to have something happen when you ask for it or when you don't ask for it, I think it's more exciting for me to have something happen when you ask for it, or more sort of like actually makes me like, whoa, because I guess part of it is just sort of the anticipation factor. If something just happens, like I just hear a voice in the distance, or some sort of disembodied voice or a noise, it's kind of easier for me to pass it off as like, well, maybe that was just a house noise. When if I asked for it, it's kind of like, ooh, maybe that was a response. But it that can become a problem, I guess, is differentiating between those two things. Yeah, I think that answers the question.
Well, I think you've covered both of my points. I agree. There are some that are actually scared of the paranormal and are scared going into it, and maybe don't. Maybe part of them doesn't believe that they're actually going to see anything, and if they do, then they freak out. But I think Haley's on the right track with the entertainment thing. I think the directors and producers of the TV shows tell them how to react, and they say, "You hear something, yell and run." I think the producers are telling them to do that. A couple of the people I've talked to who were on those shows have said, "Yeah, the producers tell us we can't. We're having trouble talking out loud here because our producers tell us we're supposed to whisper." When we're,
I know who told you that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah, and so they're told by the people who make the TV shows how they're supposed to react and what to do. It's to make it more entertaining, or to make it seem like there's actually something frightening about the experience, what there actually isn't. I still say it, the most frightening thing about any investigation is your own imagination. As far as the other thing is, I don't know that it makes a difference to me whether it's something I ask for or something I don't ask for. I like it either way, as long as I'm getting something. If I ask for something and get it, I like that. If they repeat it, I like it even better. More often than not, they don't repeat it, so I can't prove that it was anything. And odds are that if I ask for it or don't ask for it and get something, I'm not going to be able to approve it anyway, unless I get an EVP or something. And skeptics will not even accept that. But so I just like to get something to keep me from being bored.
Scott, I honestly don't think, and we've been on investigations where stuff has happened.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen you excited. Just like, yeah, I heard that. Like just as you did now. I here's a follow-up just specifically for you. Or if anybody else wants to answer, I guess you could. What is, I guess, whether you've asked for it or not, what is the experience that you could have that would not necessarily make you like freak out to the point where like, dude, let's get out of here, dude, run, but like get you like, holy shit, like over the moon, excited, just like freak out in some fashion, not necessarily like we need to book it out of here. Scott, you're first.
Yeah, I might have to think about that for a minute.
Okay, Scott, you're next.
I don't know what that would be. I mean, if we went back to that place in Iowa was the Mason house, where they told me that, you know, the room that I was sleeping in, there was a disembodied head that in there.
The blue room,
Yeah,
yes.
in the blue room.
Bluebeard.
If that had actually happened, that might have caught my attention. But you know, um, I was waiting for it to happen, and it didn't. You know, so uh, um, so I don't know if maybe something like that. You know, but I'm not sure. Uh, um, I don't know how to answer that. Um, I think it would have to happen for me to know what it would take to do to freak me out. So far, nothing has.
No,
Except-
nothing has.
But
Gotcha. What about the rest of you guys?
I think if I saw a full body like apparition, like clear as day, I would probably be pretty excited / maybe a little bit freaked out from that. And probably my biggest one that would like startle me the most is that, like, I always have in the back of my mind when I'm like walking down a corridor and like shining my flashlight into a room, if there's like a face staring back at me, I'm gonna flip my shit for like at least a couple seconds, but then I will calm down because that just like that shit's creepy. This I don't want to turn a corner and have just somebody like right there staring at me. Like, nah, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, that would get me too. Or I think sort of a similar thing, but like if I'm walking down a hallway, I'll often kind of like look behind me, and if I were to turn around and something was there, that would freak me out a little bit. Or like if I saw a doppelganger of myself or any of you, that would freak me out.
That would freak me out.
The other one, I think just like if there's something very, very like a physical movement of something. So like if I ask them to slam a door and they actually do it, or like, you know, send the couch moving across the room, that would definitely freak me out in like a good way though. I think like if a door slammed, I would be like, you guys, like, I'd be like,
Lift the ceiling.
Like that would make me jump hard, but I would be so excited. Yeah, I think there's a decent amount of things that would probably really make me flip a lid. Just at this point, just equipment hits don't really do it for me anymore, unless it's like, yeah, even then it gets me excited, but not flip a lid excited.
I just want to interject really quick. I think that if that couch thing ever happened to me, like if I was like, move a piece of furniture, whatever, this couch like slid across the floor, I think I'd probably go jump on and be like, all right, now do it. Just to make it harder for him to do it again.
Yeah.
And if they could still do it, I would freak out a little bit. So, all right, Lauren, how about you?
Sam, I have had that same fear, honestly, because you guys ever been to like Valley Scare or like Fright Fest, and they have the people that come like right up to your face?
Yeah.
I hate that. Please do not get within 3 inches of my face and scream in my face.
Yeah, honestly, it's any situation where if it were an actual human, I would be just as scared. Like,
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is something that would make me scared in like a non-excited like paranormal investigation way. I have always like on the flip side of that to get me like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. I would love to play catch with a little kid. I know like how depressing that would be to like actually get confirmation that there is like a child spirit somewhere, but I just feel like I don't know, that'd be extremely validating to me that our work is important because maybe we can help them. And at the same time, maybe I brought a little bit of joy into their existence and they obviously brought joy into my existence. So, I mean, I always try to talk to kids. That's I don't know. I want to play catch with somebody on an investigation. I feel like that'd be fun. So that would make me flip a lid in an excited way.
There is a reason that we all, on almost every investigation, especially if it's a new place, you've heard me say, you're not going to scare us. You may startle us, because that's what we're talking about with the whole, like, turn the corner and there's a face there and you're like, holy shit, what the fuck? You're not like necessarily freaking out. You're not running. Yeah, it's okay to be startled, because that's startling. But yeah, so you guys do not worry about if you turn the corner or shine a light into a room and see a face staring back at you. You have my full permission to, at least for 10 seconds, you can freak out and not worry about negative consequences from me. or
Yeah,
just sarcastic
I was
comments.
gonna say, like, not worry about criticism from you.
Yeah, criticism. There we go. Not consequence. Criticism. Because that would be 100% understandable, and I can't imagine that I would react any differently. Like I think I would get startled, like, quite loudly. You will hear
there's
me.
an episode of Ghost Hunters where that happens to Grant, and I can't remember where it was.
I think I just watched that recently, and I'm like around season 3 or 4, so it's one of the earlier seasons.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
That was the whole
he, like,
what the
rightfully
frig.
kind of freaks out a little bit. He's just like, oh my God.
Yeah. I think that's happened quite a lot to him. But it happens. It's just how you deal with it in the long run. And you guys have heard me say, whether it's to you or whether it's to anybody else, 70-80% of how you deal with this field is how you control yourself. Whether you psych yourself out, whether you're going to jump to conclusions. I had a friend, Matt. Anytime he calls me, I know it has to do with the paranormal, because it's the only time he ever talks to me. And it's always some trip to the Palmer house. Like, he's about to take one and he wants to borrow my equipment, or he wants advice on how to do something. And he finally got to go like a week and a half ago, I think it was. And I told him, I go, you're either not going to experience the thing and it's going to be boring, or you're going to piss yourself. Like, there's no in between for him, because he was just completely psyched out to something major was going to happen to him. And I'm like, well, good luck to you. And he's got this 20-year-old nephew he's taken with, who carries a Ouija board in his trunk. It's like, you're done. Like, good luck to the both of you. Apparently it was a quiet night, so they heard the kids that are rumored to be there, and that's about it. So that's the Palmer house. That's why I'm never interested in going there. I don't think there's really anything there to do. I would almost bet that those kids are faked. Speakers in the walls or something like that. Excuse me.
Or people just manifesting them by making up the stories, and then they become kind of real in a way.
A topa. Yep. Could be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, that was a long question. Go me. Lauren, why don't you have the next one?
Yeah. So I was recently talking to somebody who is very, like, has watched one episode of a ghost show, and that's like the extent of their knowledge on the paranormal. So they were asking me all these questions, and I thought they asked me a really interesting one that a lot of people do have, and I have heard it come up a lot of times, especially with residential hauntings. I guess you could do public haunts too. But the question they had was, why does activity come in waves? So a lot of people will describe, like, oh, there's a really, like, busy period of a few weeks, and then it's silent for like months. Like, why is that?
I mean, we can only guess because obviously we don't know. But my knee-jerk reaction to that would be just like buildup of energy, where if you think of it as like lightning or whatever, lightning is when, positive and negative, well, a positive charge builds up in a cloud and it needs to release, so it releases in a crack of lightning. And you can kind of look at it in that way, where energy will build up in a place, whether it be because you always hear in theaters or in concert venues right after a show the activity spikes or whatever, because there's a lot of residual energy from the performance that's left over. So I'd like to think that that might be the case, where there's a buildup of energy that the spirits can use, and then that gets sapped up and it takes time for it to build up again.
Yeah. I think there could be, like Sam makes a good point, because we can only really guess here. There could be a lot of, factors going into that. Like, could be, something to do with the weather. If it's cold for a few weeks, like it's been here, it's been in the negatives, maybe the spirits don't want to do anything either. They just want to curl up in bed in a warm blanket. Or maybe it has something to do with, not to go all astrology, but the lunar cycle, or, whatever planet is doing whatever. Not that we've found much in terms of like the full moon having an effect on stuff like that, but it's still something that you could look at.
I feel like every time we go on an investigation with the full moon, nothing happens.
It's quieter than usual.
Yeah, nothing happens.
Maybe we should try the opposite. We should try
new moon. Yeah.
Actually, the new moon is said to have the exact same properties as the full moon.
What?
That makes no sense.
That's the claim, is that the best time to go investigate is 2 to 3 days before a full moon, 2 to 3 days after, and then 2 to 3 days before a new moon, or 2 to 3 days
Nobody knows
after.
anything. Nobody knows what they're talking about.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
true.
they say Halloween, the veil is thinnest, and then somebody said like the solstice, the same thing. Everybody makes up all kinds of shit to make themselves look important and knowledgeable. And I have investigated on all of these things, and I've seen no change in nothing. So activity is activity, spirits are spirits. I don't think it has anything to do at all with all of these theories that people have. I'm sorry to interrupt, Haley. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I don't know. Maybe I'll start keeping track of the moon phase when we go on investigations, just to kind of see.
That'd be really interesting.
What's going on? Because I've full moons, we haven't had anything weird. Goodness, she almost fell down. Little kitty. Okay. Moon cycles. I mean, there's factors of like, spirits were once humans, and maybe they need to take breaks like we do too. Like sometimes, you go to work for a few weeks and you're like, I'm good. And then you're like, okay, I've been working a lot. I need a little break. And when you're a spirit, you don't have to go to work. So you can take that break whenever you want. At least I assume they don't go to work. Maybe some of them do. I don't know. There's really a lot of factors that could be behind that. And that I think that's something that we haven't asked a lot of questions about. So maybe we could ask more about it. Yeah, I mean, maybe I kind of lost my train of thought on that. Never mind. That's where I'm at.
Scott, I'm interested to hear your answer to that one.
Thanks, Mike.
No problem.
It's actually not something I've given much thought to.
No.
But
okay, well, I take it back.
Mike. But yeah, we've done investigations. Couple of investigations we've done on Halloween during a full moon, and nothing special happened.
Nope.
Which is interesting. because in my experience working in hospitals and psychiatric facilities and everything, those become very active. Emergency rooms, intensive care units, psychiatric units, all of that stuff becomes very active during the full moon. But our paranormal stuff doesn't. Even when I first started working in the hospitals, the nursing staff and everything were telling us, get ready for the full moon, because things are going to start acting up around here. So the living are the ones that are affected by the full moon more than the not living, it seems to me. So I don't know. I don't know why they go in waves. Sam's explanation works for me as well as anything else. The buildup of energy. They just, again, they might just have mood swings, where they're in the mood to come out, and other times they're in the mood not to come out. So who knows? I mean, one of these days I'll have to ask them if they ever show up to be asked.
I wonder if there is such a thing as a bipolar spirit.
If there's bipolar people, I'm sure there can be bipolar spirits.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly we're supposed to, we're supposed to shed all of our living in diseases and handicaps and stuff like that when we pass on.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I know that there are spirits obviously that hold on to that stuff, mostly because they don't know that they passed, so they think that it's business as usual. I mean, Scott, you and Pam pretty much said the exact same thing, that it's more the people who are affected by the full moon than anything, or just the moon phases in general. Since obviously you guys know how sensitive I am, I can't comment on that because I don't give a rat's ass what moon phase it is. I mean, I'd like to think that there is something to it. The gravity pull of the moon that changes the energies here on Earth, that allows spirits to kind of absorb more. But who knows? Like I've investigated all phases of the moon. I haven't seen really any real change based on that. As to the question specifically, again, that's a very good question. So again, compliments to the chef on that one.
It wasn't me.
So no, I know it wasn't you, but I'm just saying, whoever you were talking to, that's a very good question to ask. I think it depends on the spirit. I think it depends on the type of haunting. If, especially in a residual case, you guys all know that those are environmental factors. That deals with weather, deals with moon, deals with the ground, or whatever is going on. That's what makes things kind of come and go. So I mean, there are probably, that's got to be taken on a case by case basis as to what exactly is going on. And residual could simply be every last weekend of every month, or every 25th day of every month, or something along those lines. Something happens for a week or 3 days. And that's because, for whatever reason, that part of the month has the factors needed in order to release that energy to have it happen. If it's an intelligent spirit, that could be taken in so many different ways. It could be part of their plan. It could be they were bored, and then they're not. It could be that they decided to go someplace else for a while and then come back. Um, I think even demonic entities sometimes do that. Like they don't necessarily need to be at one home or one location, and that's it. So they do their thing for 3-4 days or a week or 2 weeks or however long they want to do it, and then they go someplace else and they do the same thing there. Obviously, to us, it's the perspective of it, because the homeowners or whoever it is, those are the people that deal with the waves. That deal with all the activity. Then they have silence, and then they have to deal with the activity again. I honestly, I would like to have a case where it's something like that. Because then you could ask those questions. Why do you only do it this time and then not these other times? I actually just last night or not last night, 2 nights ago on the Odyssey Files, I posed the question of, whether people have periods of consciousness and then it kind of goes away, almost like a coma patient, where even though they're in the same state, they're aware for an hour or two, or they can hear people talking to them, but they can't react. And then they kind of fade out for a month, a week, or however long it is, and then they come back. Is that something? Where, as Sam put it, they use the energy, and then they kind of shrink up to nothingness until it gets built back up again. Whether by just people living, whether by environmental factors, who knows? And then they're back to trying to do whatever it is they were doing before. I think those are questions that we can probably start to put into what we ask when we go places. Excuse me. Whether it be, I don't know if you'd be able to get that from a residential case unless that's one of the claims. I think places like Edinburgh, places like Farrar, I think those are the places you would probably get an answer to that. So what about you, Lauren?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a big question when they ask me, and I'm like, well, there's a lot of theories, and nobody really knows which is true. So there's a lot of different ways that it could go. But yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is exactly what Sam said. It's like you have to recharge a battery. Like you can't always be going without taking some downtime. So that's usually what I think of. But I know that there are a lot of questions out there about like, what is like time like on the other side? Maybe they don't even realize they're leaving these big gaps, if that is the case. I mean, like you said, Mike, it's a very case by case basis, because that is not every haunting is exactly alike. There are not gonna be any cookie cutter, they're all unique. So I think it is something that I would like to ask. I don't know if maybe the spirits themselves don't even know. We don't know. But yeah, I think it's just a buildup of energy. Just like humans, we need downtime. We need time to recharge. We need sleep every night, and we barely realize what time goes past when we're sleeping. So it could just be the same thing on that side. That's like their version of sleeping, is just like kind of maybe coming into themselves and just kind of recharging for however long they feel they need.
I think maybe a question that we can ask, and I mean, it's kind of a takeoff of the whole, do you know what day it is? That sort of thing. I mean, yeah, that's a very cheesy question to ask, and we don't, at least I don't ever ask that question anymore, just because there's so many better things to ask. But taking on that, maybe something along the lines of, hey, this is today's date. How long have you been conscious? From when you were here, or there's all kinds of different ways we could phrase it. But I mean, there are ways that we could say, here's today's date. How much do you remember in the past, and see if you can get a spirit to say, everything, or it's 1967, instead of what today's date is, that sort of thing. Who knows what they could, I mean, that might even be a good spirit box question for actually getting some sort of responses. I definitely think that that's an interesting thing that we can start to ask and see if we can get some answers to that one. Because I know it's been a curiosity of mine. I just haven't actually like put it into put it into work. So okay, well, we're out of time. Go us. Hour flies. So does anybody have anything they would like to add in general?
Nay.
Night. All right. Sounds good. Well, then I guess that does it for this week. We'll be back next week, hopefully, with another amazing episode. So until then, everybody stay healthy, stay safe. We want to see you back here. Have yourselves a great night.